The migrant crisis has resulted in millions of Middle Eastern and North African refugees seeking asylum in Europe. Refugees have faced hostility from nationalist groups despite having a number of international protections. So what rights do refugees have? First, it's important to clarify who falls into this category. Refugees and asylum seekers are those who have been displaced from their home countries due to unforeseeable circumstances like war or cultural persecution. The term refugee is simply another name for asylum seekers whose asylum application has been approved. Additionally, the term migrant applies to all those traveling between countries, including economic refugees. Fortunately for refugees, the United Nations defines a number of rights to protect and care for vulnerable migrants. Those rights were outlined in the UN's 1951 Refugee Convention, which was originally created to help Europe cope with millions of stateless people following World War II. According to the convention, if a displaced person faces persecution on the basis of their beliefs or identity, they are legally allowed to enter a foreign country to ask for asylum. Additionally, this host country is not allowed to send them back to their home state if their life or freedom would be threatened. These situations are often the result of war or genocide, which displace large numbers of people. However, unrelated events like natural disasters or generalized violence do not qualify victims for refugee status. But the law does not stop at protecting a refugee's life. The United Nations also mandates that countries must respect a refugee's well-being. Refugees have the right to access the courts, to primary education, to work, and to obtain identity cards. Countries are also encouraged to provide refugees with other welfare services and to ensure the unity of a refugee's family. Nearly all services available to legal immigrants are also available to refugees. In the United States, they are eligible for Social Security, food stamps, Medicare, Section 8 public housing, and many more aid programs. Across Europe, the extent of refugee aid varies widely, but many have automatic access to financial aid and shelter. In the UK, if you are recognized as a refugee, you will be entitled to the same social and economic rights as UK citizens. However, refugees arriving in Europe are constricted by the Dublin Regulation, which states that asylum seekers must apply for asylum in the first country of arrival. This is generally to prevent them from sending out multiple applications and to ensure their claim is dealt with quickly in one country at a time. However, in August 2015, Germany lifted this restriction on their end, allowing in any Syrian refugees. While refugees may be temporarily stateless and helpless, the international community has made it clear that they must be given legitimate opportunities to survive in the face of persecution. Although critics have voiced concerns that the incoming wave of migrants threatens their country or way of life, there are few arguments to be made against assisting those who are actively in danger. In fact, some sources say that incoming refugees can have major long-term benefits in innovation and business for host countries. While there are some questions as to how European countries will deal with the flood of asylum seekers, there is no question as to the validity of their rights. We've talked about rights of refugees, but what about the right to asylum? How does that work? Get the tidbits by watching this video.
Historically, those accused of crimes would hide in churches where one could not be harmed without facing the wrath of God. In 511 AD, this right to asylum for murderers, adulterers, and thieves was codified in French law. This is one of the reasons that churches are referred to as sanctuaries.
Thanks for watching Test Tube News. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any one of them.